Hello everyone. Welcome to this edition of my stream. It's going to be about fixing bugs in Fedora Infra applications once again. And this time I have some different things for you. I have made a poll that you will be able to fill to choose which bugs I'm going to try and fix. Of course, for that, I will need people to be here in the chat. There's currently nobody, as far as I know. Is it written somewhere? Yes. I can display. All right, there's just one person. I hope the sound is okay. The setting is quite different from my usual settings because I'm not at home this time. And so you'll see a different background, I suppose. And also I don't have two monitors this time, so I'm gonna have to try to have everything on the same screen and not have a second screen where I can make sure that things are going well in the chat, in the video. So hopefully it's all going to turn out okay. All right, tea of the day is ginger and lemon, and yeah, that's I'm going to share the poll link that you'll be able to fill out. I'm going to try and paste that in the chat. Hopefully that's going to work. We'll see. No, that's not the right one. That's the admin link. You don't need the admin link, you need the normal link. Oh, there it is. It should display in English for you. Oh, it displays in French for me, obviously. All right. All right. Okay. All right. Let me check something first, see if that works for now. Yeah, you're probably going to see OBS right now. Just a minute. Yes, just give me a sec. All right, so all right, let us start then. How many people are there in the chat? That's a good question. Let me check that. All right, it loads. According to Safranik in the chat, it loads. That's cool. Let me re-add the background now. Yeah, that should be it. All right. Okay, so it does load. All right. This thing is a sort of a doodle clone, more or less. It can do dates, but it can also do just regular polls. I don't know if I'm going to see your answers right now. It probably doesn't reload automatically because that's not the type of thing, but it's likely. Yeah, so yeah, hopefully that's understandable. Let's wait a little bit more because I could decide by myself, but that's not fun. Quite a few bots in there. All right, so let me explain what these all means. Let me go through all the tickets that I have selected. First one is on body messages, so it's actually about the Fedora messaging schemas. It's not really about body itself; it's about the Fedora messaging schemas. There's just a typo somewhere. Let me go back to that one from the easy fixes. Yeah, so there's a missing white space somewhere, which is unfortunate, not very bad, very simple to fix. If we do that, we'll be able to do plenty of other things as well, but it's there. So, second one is more complex actually. It's on fastJSON. So it's a ticket that has been opened by Kevin. Let me find it again. Yeah, so there's an issue that happens on groups that have sponsors which are a group as well. So basically in IPA you can have groups, you can have group managers, we call them sponsors. And in those managers you can have users or you can have groups as well. And as a consequence of that, if you put a group there, every member of this group is also a manager, an indirect manager, but a manager of the group you're looking at. So this is something that wasn't taken into account when we built FastJSON, so it's breaking, and we need to fix that. There are different ways of fixing that. Right, so Suffering says that has an idea for a future stream populating the EasyFix backlog. So I have actually tagged some tickets as EasyFix since the last time I've been on this stream. Not so many, but it's something that I try to think of when I go through tickets, and hopefully other people in the team do as well. And this way I'm kind of confident that we'll always have bugs to fix, and easy bugs to fix, because there's always a good stream of those. So yeah, FastJSON didn't take that into account, so there's different ways of fixing that. We can either ignore the group, or we can recurse into the group, find all the users, and return them as managers of the group we're looking at. All right, that's the second one. Third one, oh yeah, it's probably very, very small for you. Let me zoom in a bit. Third one that you should see is on Fedora messaging. It's just migrating the Fedora messaging project to Poetry. Poetry is a Python tool for dependency management that we use in many projects, and Fedora messaging is still using the setup.py, even though it's a bit of an advanced one, but it's still the usual setup.py that has been the norm in the Python land for forever. So I want to migrate Fedora messaging to Poetry to have better control on the dependencies, and also to make it kind of similar to the other applications, so we don't have to context switch all the time when we switch applications. So that's basically about Python tools. The second one is kind of similar. It's about the use of Renovate instead of Dependabot. Renovate is a bot in GitHub, or GitLab, for example, or I think it does Git as well. That is going to analyze your dependencies, and whenever there's a dependency update, like there's a new version of one of your dependencies, it's going to send you a pull request, so you can just make sure that the tests pass and merge it. Very practical. Dependabot does the same thing, but Renovate has a few features that are really interesting over Dependabot. It will, for example, only open one pull request for all your out of the dependencies instead of one pull request per dependency, which can lead to a flood of pull requests. At least that was the case with Dependabot for us. Okay, next one. Next one is FMN 897. It's something about the. So in FMN, when you edit a rule or when you create a rule, it's not directly obvious that there's a button to click to actually store it, because during the process of so it's a multiple step process, and it's kind of easy to miss the final step. And so this ticket was about making that more obvious, and for example adding a pop-up that says that you have something unsaved on your page, and you should confirm that you want to cancel your creation or your edit. It's going to be in TypeScript, because FMN's UI is written in TypeScript, so that's going to be the first time I do TypeScript on these stream stations. And it's going to be fun. So if you want to look at some TypeScript, that could be a good choice. The next one is on FMN again. It's about adding a footer to email notifications that says that tells you that this email has been sent by FMN and which rule it has been sent by. It's pretty simple to do. It's just something to add to the email emitter in FMN. FMN can send you notification through different channels, and email is one of them. IRC or Matrix are others. All right, next one is it's adding some information on the FMN page, on the FMN rule edit page, about where the list of email addresses and Matrix accounts and IRC accounts are coming from. It's coming from your account in Noggin, but that's not very obvious. So this one is about adding either some tooltip or some information somewhere that explains where this is coming from to the user. It's going to be TypeScript again for the same reasons as before. FMN's UI is in TypeScript. Next one is about two buttons that do pretty much the same thing but have different names, different labels in FMN again. So this one, same thing, it's going to be TypeScript. Next one is about adding a cancel button on the edit rules page on FMN. It's about the same thing as the one that states that it was too easy to miss the final step. This one should make it obvious that there is one good way to go out of the page, and that's using the cancel button. And so as long as the cancel button is there, it's clear that you haven't finished editing your role. All right, next one is FMN again. It's in the UI again. It's about there is a place in the UI where you can select the lists. You can select the applications that you want to emit messages. Well, that you want messages to be emitted from. So you create a rule, and there you have a filter with a list of applications. It's not very obvious that when you select no applications, it's as if you were selecting all the applications. It's clear it's not stated anywhere, of course it confused people. So there is a ticket that says provide an all applications button to the list. And it's not strictly necessary to do that, because selecting no applications means you're going to select all of applications. Actually, it means that you're going to disable this filter, but that's an implementation detail. And that's one more. So next one, when a user is disabled in IPA or in Noggin, it's not disabled in FMN, and as a result, notifications are still emitted for that user. That's not great. It would be preferable if disabling a user in IPA, so in Fedora's account center, would also disable it in FMN. So that's one thing that we can do. It's going to be Python mostly. It's going to be having listening to an additional message on the bus. Well, FMN is already subscribed to all the messages, but making a special use case for that topic, and if the user is disabled, then disable it in FMN. So there's going to be some Python and some database, basically. All right, next one is in Noggin. Currently in Noggin, the disabled users are still shown in the UI. It's not great. If they're disabled, they shouldn't show up in the UI. So there's something that we need to fix in there. Noggin is, however, pure Python, so it's going to be in Python. All right, next one is about the validation of the OTP field on the Noggin form. It's been there since last time, and it's very simple. The OTP field can only have 6 digits. So with the newer validation attributes in HTML, we can make sure that you only enter 6 digits and check that on the client side. So simple, we shouldn't refrain from doing that. And the last one is on Flask Health. Flask Health is a library that you can use on your Flask application that run in OpenShift to add the endpoints that OpenShift queries to know if your application is alive and running or not. There are 2 endpoints, and it's pretty simple to implement them. And Flask Health is the library that will do that for you, or give you easy tools to implement them according to the protocol, or more or less, that OpenShift expects. All right, that's all of them. Let me refresh that. Do we have a vote? I don't think we have a vote. Let me check the public link. All right, do I have people in the chat yet? There's mostly only Safronic. Hello there, by the way. So I guess you will be able to choose which one you want, if you want to vote, and if not. So I was thinking I could do that. I could do this vote in Twitch. It would be much easier, except to be able to make a vote to have a poll in Twitch, you need to be affiliated, and I don't want to do that. I don't want Twitch to send me money or request money from users and show them ads, and no, I don't want that. So I only have the basic system. All right, if nobody wants to vote, I'm going to pick one of them, just as I did before. So, what could I work on that would be worthwhile and still fit in the time frame that I have? I could do the migration to Poetry and Renovate. It's still useful. It's tools that we use a lot in the infrastructure applications, so it could be a good example for people to know what we use and how we configure them. That's one option. But it's not extremely urgent or useful at the moment. I think the one about disabling users in IPA, in FMN when they're disabled in IPA, might be more useful. So I think I'm going to select that unless somebody does a last minute poll. Nope, still nothing. All right, let's get going then. I think I'm going to do this one. FMN 826, handle user being disabled. That should be this one. Yeah. Yep. All right, so let's do this. Hey, Olematic Swagmaster. Happy you're here. There is a poll. Oh yeah, thank you, Safronic. Thanks for relaying it. That's the poll where you can vote for which bug I'm going to fix, and if things happen quickly, I might change my... Aha, there's one from Safronic. Aha, okay. Yeah, that's a good choice actually. And there's one here, disable user are still shown in the UI in Noggin. Okay, good. Okay, that's one choice. Yeah, you have to remember to save. It's not automatically saved. It's a very lightweight in JavaScript application. Yeah, okay. It's so what I wrote in the poll is the number of the ticket. There's a link to the ticket if you want to click on it, and at the end there's basically the technologies we're going to be using if we do that. So sometimes there's Python, sometimes there's Fedora messaging, sometimes there's TypeScript. Oh, video is stuttering. Yeah, that's not good. What can I do to fix that? So I'm not at home. I'm in a remote country house in the country with lots of greens outside in the west of France. It's not my usual fiber optic connection, so that may be the reason. Hopefully it's not going to be unwatchable. Let's see, I'm not sure I can do much. I could plug myself in Ethernet on the modem, but I think that the problem doesn't come from the Wi-Fi here. We are out of nowhere. There's no interferences. It's more likely that the congestion is coming from the ADSL line. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, let's do the one on Noggin maybe? Yeah, that seems correct. Yeah, the one on Noggin then. Disabled users are still showing the UI. It should be simple. Let's see how far we can get with that one. Alright, so Noggin it is. Let me start VS Code. It's a bit too wide, my dear VS Code. Also, it's not on the right desktop. Please go here. Thank you. All right. Last chance for the vote. Nope. Okay, let's go with this one. All right, so this is Fedora messaging. That's not what we want. Let's open Noggin right here. Okay, so first thing I do when I want to fix a bug is reproduce it. That's the first step that you always have to go through when reproducing a bug. I will try to reproduce it on the local environment. Noggin has a vagrant environment available. Yeah, bug me about that later, please. Not now, thank you. Blah, 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 blah. Install Flake8. Sure, install Flake8 if you want. Okay, so Noggin has a vagrant environment, so I will start the VM. It's, of course, way too small for you to watch. Let me make that bigger. Appearance, zoom in. Is that big enough for you guys to read? Okay. All right. Why is this open? I do not know. So Noggin is a web interface to do some self-service with IPA. IPA is the backend where everything is stored. It's in an LDAP database. It has a lot of things around it that will make it practical and connected. And it has an API, like a REST API that you can query and that you can make changes on. Lots of things. At the moment, it's going to restart this. That's a bit too bad. So, okay, that's a problem. So right now, okay, let me start that. Let me edit the vagrant file to show you what the problem is. Where's the vagrant file? It's right here. Okay, so this vagrant file has two boxes. One is free APA because it likes to be on its own VM. Wait, what? Yeah, it's on Fedora 35. Anyway, one is on IPA and one has Noggin itself. Noggin is running on a very old VM. Why is that? Let's fix that. Let's put it to 38, I suppose. That's going to be 38. And I have no idea what this this is 38 obviously, but the rest, I have no idea. So let me open that in my browser and see if I have the link. Okay, that's the second to last. And copy that link. Go back here. Give me some more room, please. Thank you. Okay, that's okay. Let me remove that. It's 1.6. It's apparently 1.6. 1.6. Okay. All right. So So that's obviously wrong. Okay. Let's see if I can what is the status of that? Because what I'm afraid is that if I have to create, okay, the FreeIPA VM is running already. That's cool. Okay, I was a bit worried about that because FreeIPA is very long to install. It takes like maybe 15 minutes or something. So I was worried that I would have to install that and waste a lot of time. But no, I'm going to just have to start Noggin. Let's see if that works. So I'm going to start Noggin. So Vagrant works by creating a VM where your code lives. It synchronizes your code directory with the VM, and we have configured it to run Ansible after it's installed. And we have an Ansible directory with playbooks, and they set up the machine to be the good environment for Noggin. I can show you that while it's running. We usually put everything into a devel directory, and it's here, and we have an Ansible subdirectory with the Noggin playbook, like the basic Noggin playbooks that just runs a common role and installs the Noggin role, and that is quite a lot of tasks actually. It enrolls the system. Blah 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 blah. Compiles the translations, installs the systemd init files, and then starts it using systemd. And right now it's installing common packages. So my laptop is not a very powerful laptop, so it takes a bit of time. The glass is actually very big. It's bigger than it's not only the perspective that makes it look gigantic. It's actually pretty big. It's huge, but it's tea, and I drink a lot of it, so that makes sense. All right. If you have any questions on Noggin itself, I usually try to answer the questions before you ask them, but that doesn't always work. So if you have questions about Noggin, I'm happy to answer them. If I do this, if I want to reproduce the bug, it's preferable to do it on the local machine because I will need to disable a user, and I'd rather not do that even in staging if I can do it locally. Right now I see that I'm currently on the staging branch. That's not really what I want to do. I want to be on the dev branch. Oh, yeah, one more thing. I will have to open the door. Cool, because I'm in the same room as the cats, and the cat needs to eat. So I may have to open the door later on. Okay, so what's it doing? Installing common packages. All right. Yeah, sound is on, sorry. I was just rambling about the duration of installing common packages. So let's have a look at the code, see where the error could come from first. Even if we haven't reproduced it yet, we can try and figure out where this might come from. The Noggin code is separated into controllers, models that are in the representation. Well, not exactly, but still. So yeah, let me explain that. Noggin doesn't have any database by itself because it's basically a front end to IPA. So it only makes LDAP calls to IPA. Communicates via LDAP, and it doesn't have a database of its own. And as a result, we don't have SQL Alchemy or SQL Alchemy models in here. We have representations of things of objects that we get from LDAP. Let's look at the controller and let's say user controller. What does it have? Okay. We have a user settings profile function, user settings, probably not that, user settings, all user settings. Okay. And what about user? User is about a single user. So that's not where the list of users is retrieved from. Okay, good. Where could that be? Maybe in root? Root is the base URLs of Noggin. So there's root, which is the index page more or less, and it doesn't look like it makes requests for all the users. Yeah, I don't think we have a user list actually in Noggin. It's probably only available by searching. Search JSON. Okay. Username. That's what we. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay. User find. Okay. So ipa.userfind is the command that we're using to search for a user. And I can check if it's only here or somewhere else. What's going on? Did I misclick? Oh yeah, something's wrong here. Okay. Seems to be stuck. That's not good. I should have done my usual thing, which is run the command line things on command line on the terminal and not try to cram everything into Visual Studio Code. Because if it's stuck now, then I'm probably going to have to. Yep, seems stuck. Okay, let's kill it. Goodbye. And start it again. Right. So this time I'm going to run the Vagrant up from the command line instead of running it from VS Code itself. All right, let me get to my terminal, open a new one because that's way too small for you guys. Okay, use the right profile. Yeah, that should be much better. And move that to the right screen. Okay, now we have something. So I was working on Mirror Manager 2 before that, but I'll switch to Noggin. Okay, so it's the Noggin VM is running. Maybe killing Visual Studio Code didn't really kill the process behind it. Ansible is not running. So I suspect that it has killed the Ansible process, but Noggin itself is not provisioned entirely. So we can restart the provisioning process with Vagrant. So Vagrant provision means that it's going to rerun the provisioner, Ansible in our case, and Ansible, ideally, if you configure it right, will not do the same thing twice. It's going to just ignore the steps that are already done. I'd like to check something first. Throughput is not great. Do you guys see a video? Because I'm a bit worried that you don't see a video at all. So Yolomatisk asks the question, how can people start contributing to Fedora on the engineering side? So if by engineering you mean like the Fedora infrastructure, we have a process to let us know that you're interested in contributing to it. If I remember correctly, it's in docs.fedoraproject.org. Blah, 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 blah. Fedora. We're probably here, aren't we? Oops, here. Aha, right here. So there's quite a few engineering teams in Fedora, and the one that I'm a part of is called Fedora Infrastructure. We work on the infrastructure, the applications that compose Fedora. And if you want to participate to it, you are very welcome to do so. And you can click on this link, and if you want to join the team, there is a section right about it. Join the team, or maybe working with the Fedora infrastructure. Yeah, at least, yeah. If you're interested in this team, I'm going to send you the link to the whole thing. There it is, and you can look if you're interested in our workflows, our tools, and then you can join the team. There's a getting started page. Oh, the old wiki, cool. Anyway, the process involves, I think, joining a mailing list and sending a mail, or going through IRC, going to IRC, to the IRC channel and announcing yourself or something. But yeah, it has changed over the years, so I'd rather point you to the right document instead of trying to remember from my flaky memory. Okay, let's go back to this. Okay, so it's still installing packages. It's currently installing RPM packages for Noggin. Well, not for Noggin itself, because we're using it from source code, but for the dependencies. I hope that answers your question. All right. It's kind of slow. I should have created this virtual machine before, but anyway, let's go back to Visual Studio and see what we can find in there. So what I was doing is I see that this is the command that is used to get all the users, all the fast users from IPA. There's a size limit because we're only searching. We don't want to get the entire database, obviously. but we don't want to show disabled people. So there are two ways of filtering that out. We can either get this list and then filter out users that are disabled from it in Python right here. It would be simple because we can just access the property and filter it in Python. The problem is that you will end up with less than 10 results. And if, for example, you are searching for a user with a string that matches 10 users that are disabled, you are going to receive no results, even though there are results. That's kind of a problem. And also you're getting more data that you actually need. So it's always preferable to do the filtering as early as you can, and not do it in Python in your application itself. That's why it's always better to have a good SQL query, for example, a SQL query, for example, where you do the right filtering, the right where statement, instead of getting more than you need and filtering in Python. It's always faster. The question is, does this user find command give me a way to filter out users that are disabled? Well, that's a good question. What is this user find command? What is this IPA thing? IPA comes from this argument, which is injected by this decorator. Let me look where that comes from. That's the decorator. Okay, cool. IPA, the IPA here that is injected in the function arguments comes from this maybe IPA session. What is this? Maybe IPA session is a function that is going to make a connection to your IPA server, create some secrets, and use the client class here. What is this client class? Well, it's defined here. That's the class. And it inherits, it has a few methods which are overridden from the base class, but the base class is IPA client. IPA client comes from Python 3 IPA. Okay, let's have a look at this package then. See, it has documentation on the function that we're going to use, which was find user. Okay. Python 3 IPA. Python 3 IPA is, it's an unofficial library, I should say, to connect to IPA, and it has documentation. Cool. Let's go and use it. Yeah, that kind of looks like what we just did. Yeah, the video seems to be lagging a lot. Huh. Okay. Yeah. So the video seems to be lagging a lot. I'm going to... Yeah, it's not great. I don't know what I can do, because this has been a few minutes already since I saw your question. So I could try to plug in RJ45 to the modem, but I'm not sure it will actually solve the problem, and it will probably disconnect me in the meantime. And I don't know what's going to happen if I'm disconnected. I'll try see if I can reduce the resolution, maybe. See if there's a switch for that in OBS. Blah 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 blah. Okay, capture. Okay, output probably, maybe something like this. Can I output to? That's the video. Yeah, can I reduce that? Yeah, I'll have to quit streaming before I can reduce the video size, which will be better for live, but not as good for the video that will be uploaded on YouTube afterwards. So I'm not sure what to do, honestly. It hasn't happened to me before because I'm usually on a fiber optic connection, so it's not a problem. Let me keep going and hope that things fall into place afterwards, maybe. Function was find user. Oh no, it was user find. Find. User find has a ton of arguments. Okay. Hopefully in there is one about being disabled. What is, so the names are mapping apparently to the LDAP attributes of user. And there is one that I think is about being disabled. Let me check that if it's actually the case. Here we have a representation of the user to convert what we get from LDAP, which is a dictionary basically, to something that we can work with more easily. And one of them, I think, is locked. Yes. So, locked. Yeah, Safronic says that he can't get the stream to load at all anymore. He might have to drop. Yeah, it might not be from you. It might not come from you, actually, for Safronic, and maybe from my end. I don't know what happens when the stream is so, when I have so much, like, I can't upload fast enough. The Twitch page is actually trying to be informative to me about that, because it says that my throughput is not sufficient, which I can understand. It says that it's unstable. Wait, there is a way to trick it. So, not that. So there is a slow latency option. Can I change it somewhere? Low latency. Aha. Advanced option in parameter. Okay, let's go to parameters and go to... There is no advanced options there. Maybe streaming? Blah, 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 blah. No advanced options. What about... I don't know what that could be. Is there anyone that is very familiar with Twitch and that could help me? Yeah, you're welcome, Yolomatic. Information. I would like to disable, maybe here. Advanced. Aha. All right, let's see if that helps. That may help. Hopefully. Let's see if that makes things better. Okay, let me get back to it. Sorry for the complexities of all that. I'm clearly not used to it. Okay, so there's an attribute called NS account lock that means that your account is locked. And, if I remember correctly, we have here an option that you can pass to user find to specify if you want accounts that are locked or not. So that's exactly what we want. Good news. So in theory, I could fix the bug by just doing o_NSAccount lock equal false in there, which means I don't want NSAccount lock to be true. I mean, only want the false option. Okay, I'm not going to save that because first I want to reproduce my bug. Let's see where it's at. Installing Python tests with poetry. Oh, okay, that might also be a reason why it's being slow. It might just have been downloading tons of dependencies from the internet. Even though poetry has some cache, so it should, in theory, should it? No, it's not, because it has created the machine from scratch. So it had to collect all the dependencies from the internet. That might not have helped with my throughput problem. Anyway, we're getting there. It's still downloading packages. Oh yeah, that's why it's so slow, because it's downloading packages from the internet. So it makes the downloading slow and the uploading slow for the stream. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so in theory, just by doing this, we are going to fix the issue. Before I say that I have fixed things, let me check if I'm using this user_find method somewhere else. Yes, I'm using it here with the whoami equal true option to get the current user that is connected to IPA. So that's not a case. And of course, I'm using it in the tests. All right. You know, we wanted to reproduce it visually, but we could also reproduce it programmatically using unit tests, because that's what unit tests are for, actually. So you know what? Let's first write a test that is going to prove that we have the bug. How do I do that? I go to my themes directory. My tests directory. It's right here. I locate the appropriate test module. It was in controller. And we're in the root file, so I guess it's going to be test root. Cool. How does this work? Okay, we have a fast user, we have fixtures here, test root, okay, registration closed, search JSON. Search JSON is pretty cool, actually. Yep. You know what? Let's use that. Yes, that's cool. Let's use that. So I'm going to use this test as an example. And I'm going to name it test_JSON disabled, or rather locked, because that's actually how it's named. So before I do that, I will use a second user. Username is going to be dummy-locked. I'm not searching for a group. And I expect my return to be nothing, because I'm going to create a user called dummy that is locked. How do I create a user that is locked? That's a very good question. Thanks for not asking it. And I'm going to look at how we create the logged in dummy user first. Dummy group, I don't need dummy group. I'm going to have a look at how I create this. So logged in dummy user is a fixture that comes from probably the conf tests module here. Where is it? Where is it? That's the dummy user, very cool. So it's make user dummy. Okay, that's interesting. And then the logged in dummy user uses the dummy user that we've created and logs it in. Okay, so I don't want to have another logged in user. What I want is another user. So I'm going to use make user, which is apparently a fixture. Very cool, it's a function fixture. You can do that with PyTest. You can have functions as fixtures and they will clean up after themselves when they're done. So that's actually pretty cool. Okay, get to my tests. I need the make user fixture, and I'm going to call make user Of course, I need that user to be disabled, and to do that, I will probably need to make a call. I'm probably going to make a call to one of the functions. So, thanks, Yalmatic, for your understanding. He says that they say that he doesn't mind at all. Well, they don't mind at all. How do I make something? So because here I'm going to get the user, and now I want to make it disabled. I suspect that I'm going to have to use the either IP admin or how do I make a user disabled? That is interesting. I could do that with the IP admin account. Yeah, let me do that with the IP admin account. So IP admin is defined here. I'm going to have to import that if it's not already imported in there. Is it imported already? Yeah, there are calls to IP admin. Okay, let me do that. So user add, user del, not what I want to do. Where's my new thing? Oh, okay. Cool. So now I will want to do something like IPA admin user mod, maybe? Do I have well, I just had, oh, that's finished, that's cool. So I just had the documentation right under my nose before. I suspect there is a user mod somewhere that is going to explain. Yay, that's the thing. All right, user mod modifies a user. Perfect. Do I have the NS account log here? Yes, I do. Okay, so it should be very simple actually. User mod dummy locked. This option here, true. And I don't actually need the reference to the user because I'm only using its username. Nice. That should actually work. Let us try. Okay, so there's one thing that I haven't mentioned, and that's VCR. You see this VCR here? VCR is a testing library that is used to record HTTP calls to an external service into files and then replay those files instead of connecting to the HTTP service, the external service itself. The reason we want to do that is because we don't always have access to an IPS server, and we especially don't have access to an IPS server in CI where we want to run the test most of the time. So what we do is run the tests in our Vagrant VM, where we have the environment, where the free API machine runs, where everything is set up, and then record those responses into a file, save it, and then we can run the test all the time, every time. And instead of making HTTP calls, it's going to take the responses from those responses file. Okay, let's do it as an example here. Okay, so this is a bit too long, I think. No. No, I don't want it full screen, thank you very much. Only want it here. Okay. Yeah, it's a bit annoying because it should actually be smaller if I want to see everything there. Okay. Yeah, still not good enough. Yeah. All right. Hopefully that makes things better. Yes. Yes, I can see the bottom of the screen. So we're there. Okay. Let's log into the VM. Oh, by the way, the VM is accessible, the Vagrant VM is accessible by your local web browser if you need to. Hey, Griddlemal, how are you doing? Glad to see you here again. Let's say noggin.test, and it is running. So we have accounts in there. We have, for example, William. Do we have accounts? We certainly have admin, because that's a default one. Yeah, don't store. Thank you very much. And let's look for other users. Okay. Will. Do we have a Will? We have a William Mullins. I think William Mullins is going to be disabled very soon. Okay, William Mullins. Don't store, thank you. No, that's not what I want to change. Okay, so let me start my tests first. I need to go into Noggin, PyTest, tests, units. Let's add a -v for good measure. Controllers, I think. Yes, controller. Test root. PyTest. Oh yeah, of course. We're using Poetry, so if I want to run things from the virtual environment, it has to be with Poetry. The Poetry run. Things pass, all good, all good. Ah, this one fails. And it fails exactly as I wanted to fail. It's failing because instead of having no answer, I got my dummy locked user. Not good, not good. So I have my test. If you look at the Git status, you will see that running this test has created a new file called a cassette, because the library is called VCR, so it produces cassettes. Love it. It's creating this file that has all the replies. So Grillo suggests that the CPU might be overused, and that actually it's a fair guess. I don't think I'm running much more than what I run on the other streams, but maybe that's the reason. I think this laptop is getting a bit old. I might, yeah. I'll look at if it's still in warranty or not, and if it's going to be close to not warranted anymore, then I may ask for a refreshment. We'll see about that. I think it's more than 3 years old, so probably I may be able to get a new laptop. Anyway, that's a problem for another day. This file has been created by VCR. Now let me try to reproduce the problem visually. So I also have IPA running at the same time. So it should be on ipa.noggin.test. I think so. Yeah, it's unhappy because it's using the same. Yeah, okay. Let me do this way. Let's try to do it on the command line. So, William. Do I have a William? Oh, yeah, I'm not logged in. Oh, no. on the test VM, there's an account called admin, and it has a password. Extremely secure, but that's the development VM, so of course, why not? Do we have a William? I'm pretty sure we have Williams. Yeah, we have the William Mullins right here, and the account is not disabled, as you can read right here. Let's disable it. Yep, that's not disabled. Would have been too easy. So then what it is? Lock? No. No. How do I lock a user? Oh, I know. IPA has great documentation. That's pretty cool. User disabled. That's how you do it. So it's not user mode disabled. It's actually user disabled. Do it. Disabled account. Let me show you. William Mullins is now account disabled equal true. Okay, so in theory, I should not get it in the responses anymore. I still see it because I haven't saved my change right here. It's still unsaved. Don't take so much space, terminal. Save it. Okay. Now I need to make sure that the code has been refreshed on, and I need for that I have something called I think I have a Noggin restart. Yes, I have a Noggin restart command. All right. I have Noggin logs coming. Yeah, I can see the logs. Okay, so now let's see if I still get a William. Aha! Oh, well, no, that's probably cache. Let me start again. Yes, William Mullins is no more. So the fix is actually a good fix for the issue that we have. There's of course another problem, and maybe you see it. My user is disabled, but it's still viewable, and if I access the right page, I still get it. So it's good to not be able to retrieve a user when you search for it, but it will also be preferable to hide the user from the interface instead of showing it as if nothing happened. You know. Oh, by the way, let me see if my test is now succeeding. That's not here. That's here. See if the test is now succeeding. Let me make the terminal a bit bigger. Let's run the test. I haven't changed anything. Test is failing because the user. Well, why is it failing? It should be locked. It's still retrieving it. I have made the change. Let's check if the user is actually disabled. Okay. Where is it? Oh yeah, of course. That takes all the screen space. So I get a user from there. Let's see if the user is actually disabled. Where's my user representation? User. Okay. Locked was the attribute. Okay. Let's see what that says. Oh, it returns a dict. Oh, sorry about that. Yep, my bad. So let's just print user, okay? Let's just print the result and see if we have something that we have the thing we want. I thought it was a representation, but it's not. Okay. What do you mean dict object has no attribute locked? I just changed it. Maybe it takes some time to, yeah, that's probably it. It may take some time to synchronize the files to the VM. It's on the same machine, but you know. That's the right error. Okay, so that's what we get after locking the user. Is there... Is there a lock notice in there? Of course, it's written locked everywhere, so that doesn't help, but... Wait. NS account lock equal true. That's where it is. Okay. So it's right. So I'm thinking it fails because... no, that shouldn't be a problem. Why am I not getting the right result? Oh yeah. You know what? I've run the tests with the cassette before. Before I made the change, let me remove that cassette and try again. With a fresh environment where it actually calls IPA. And now it works. So the difference was that I hadn't recorded the right response from IPA. Like I was asking it the same thing, and I had recorded the response before I made the fix. So that was not right. So, okay, so that fixes it. My test now works. And now I want to hide this from the user page. So how do I do that? Well, when I look at a page, I am calling the user controller, which is here. Okay, that's the user controller. That's the URL that I'm calling. And here I am getting the user. There is a user or 404 function. Let me look at that, which gets a user and returns 404 if the user is not found. That's where I could hack it. So let's see if user show accepts users that are not accepts to specify users that are not disabled. For that, I need this docs. User mod, probably a user show somewhere. Okay. Yep. So it has rights, display the access rights, file to store, retrieve and print all attributes. That's just different ways of displaying or retrieving information, but it doesn't change that it's still showing this user. So what I can do, instead of returning it just like this, I store it, and then I test it if it's locked. If user.locked, then okay, so if it's locked, it will appear as if it didn't exist. That's pretty cool, but I want to write a test first. Where are my tests? So it's that the test for the root, now test for user. Okay, very good. That's my test for user. That's what my test when I'm not authenticated. Okay, user edit post, blah, 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 blah. That's much more complicated than what I want to do. I think I'm just going to go back to my basic. Yeah. Let me get back to the first one. It's going to be simpler. Okay. Do I have something that checks the 404? Let's see. Apparently not. Okay. So here I am going to do pretty much the same thing as I did before. Before I go into the edit tests, I'm going to test it here. Test user logged. I still need the client, I need the logged in dummy user, and I need the function that makes users. That's a good question. So Grillo mentions that there's a 5-minute delay between when I write a message and I see it on the screen. Maybe restarting OBS would fix the lag buffering. It would restart the stream though. Yeah, that's the issue that I would like to avoid. It may be the reason. It may be OBS using all my CPU. That's possible. It may be the connection. If I do that, I'm afraid that it will mess up the recording of the stream. So, yeah, I think I'm not going to do it and just read your questions with some delay. I'm happy to go back to what I said 5 minutes before. That's totally okay, not a problem for me. So I will answer your questions just with a small delay. That's it. Okay. Let me get back to it. All right. Test user locked. Okay, very good. I will create a user just as I did before. Oh yeah, I don't need to print the user anymore. So I don't need the user anymore. Okay. Now I will create dummy locked. I will lock it. And now I'm going to request it. And I expect it to be a 404. All the rest is not useful. Well, I mean, I could look for an error that is going to be... I don't necessarily want to differentiate between a user being locked and a user not existing, because a user might be locked for various reasons, and we may want to hide the fact that they even existed at some point. Okay, so this of course doesn't work, right? I mean, shouldn't work. Let's try it. Let's save that one as well. Okay, run it. User log takes more time because it's making the actual requests to LDAP. It's failing, obviously. It's going to say that it's 200 code. Right? Yes, that's exactly it. All right, now let's fix the problem. Controllers, check that the user is locked. If it's locked, also abort with 404. I could make a different message here, but as I said, not sure I want to do that. Save it, run the test again. Fails for the very same reason as before, but it shouldn't, I think. Let's remove the... Let's remove the cassette again. And run it. Oh no, it's all failing. Oh, that is funny. What's happening? So what's going on here? Oh, yay. Of course, same problem as I had before. Okay. Okay, fine. Controller. Here, the result of IPA show is not a representation. It is, it's dict. So there are two ways I could fix that. I could either, the dict is used with the result of this. So there are two ways I could fix that. One would be to do this. Use the representation and check if it's locked. Okay. That will work. It will require me to import the representation. I already have it. All right. It would be a bit more compute intense than just checking the dictionary itself, but it will also make it more readable. And when I need to choose between something being more readable and something being less readable but less performant, but more performant, unless performance is really key in that situation, I usually choose the more readable, because I think of the myself in 5 years in the future that is going to go and read all that and try to understand, trying to fix a bug in a hurry, and I would much prefer having something much readable at that time. If it's for me, if it's me in 5 years, or if it's somebody else in the team in 2 weeks. So I'd rather do that. Let's see if that works better now. And it passed. It passed. So, okay, nice. Let me check that it's actually the case also in the web interface, right? My dear William Mullins, you don't exist anymore. That works. Cool. Okay, that's perfect. We have done that. We have fixed this issue. Now we need to make a news fragment. What is a news fragment? The news fragment is a piece of text that is going to be added to the changelog when we make the next release. In Noggin and in a lot of apps actually in the Fedora infrastructure, we use something called Town Crier. Town Crier is a tool that can create your changelog for you. It aggregates different pieces of changelog together in the changelog, so it's a pretty simple script. It has some templating around it, and it produces a changelog that is useful for users to read. Here, in our case, we could have written all the changes and the things that the explanation for the change in the commit itself. But in my opinion, Git commits are more for developers. They are here to, they are targeted at the population who wants to understand how the code works and how a bug was fixed. Sorry, and the changelog is for users that are interested in changes in the application between a release and the next. So here we're going to specify that in a new fragment that has a certain formatting. It's named after the bug itself, .bug when it's a bug being fixed, which is our case. And that's the one, 1210. Okay, let us create a new file. 1210.bug. Show Yep, that's it. Save it. And now we're going to create our commit. So in this commit, we want this new file. We want the changes in root. We want the controller, test root, test user. We want the two cassettes that have been created. And I think that's it. That's a script. No, that's the script. Rebuild cassettes. Oh, that's another script. The vagrant file has changed. I'll push that in a separate commit because it's really unrelated to this one. Okay, cool. And now, don't show world fixes and 12.10. Oh, before I do that, I want to switch to a new branch. I forgot to do that at the beginning. That's always something that you want to do when you fix a bug. You create a new branch, fix 12.10, and you make your commits in that branch. Okay. Now it's actually running Git. Do I have Git here? I have Git here. So the commit is taking some time because it's actually running pre-commit, which is a set of, it's a hook that runs a set of linters on your code when you make a commit. And I suspect that the linters have either changed or they have, they probably have changed, so it's re-downloading the linters themselves. It should be somewhere here. Or is it in problems? It's not in problems. It should be in output. And I think it's in the Git output, but I don't see it here. Still running. Is it in the debug console? Probably not. Output, I think it should be in the output of Git, but it's, you should, if you were on the command line, there it is. So the Git log has an error. So it says that it has unstage file detected, which is fine. The error is the imports are not correctly sorted or formatted in test user. Huh, really? Okay, let's try, let's test that. Test user, which one was it? This one. Not correctly formatted? Really? Oh yeah, if I save it, it changes them. Okay, let's try this commit again. Error again. Okay, so I think that this might come from so this might come from VS Code, because I'm currently in the process of switching between FLAC8 as a linter, which is a very popular linter that everybody uses, to Rough, which is a new linter that does a lot more than FLAC8. And it also incorporates some rules to do the same thing as isort, which is sort your imports. Apparently, it doesn't sort them exactly in the same way, by default at least. So when I run, like if I run isort on this, oh, you know what? I should try that. First, let me get out of the Vagrant VM. Let me try to run isort on this. Oh! Or maybe I just need to do that. Like, it has changed things, and now I need to rerun it again. Is it gonna work? Who knows? And it works. Okay, that wasn't... no need to fiddle too much. Okay, cool. So now I have a commit that contains my fix, and I want to send that to my fork. So for that, I have an alias. I don't know if you can show aliases with Git. No, maybe not. I have an alias called PUF, which does git push setup stream fork, because my fork of the project is called fork. That's the name of the remote. So I usually do this, git PUF. It pushes my changes into my fork on GitHub. It does this whenever it wants to. Thank you. Yeah, my computer is pretty swamped. Probably one of the reasons why it's so slow, or why it's lagging on your end. Sorry about this. Sorry about this, folks. In the meantime, I can drink some tea. Right, almost there, almost there. Well, sometimes you have to be patient. I could save some time by turning off the Vagrant machine. Yep, that would be, I think, very preferable. Let's make a new terminal. Let's stop the VMs that we don't need. So it's going to stop the Noggin VM, takes a lot of RAM. It's going to stop the IPA VM, takes even more RAM. Well, quite a lot of RAM actually. I think free AP is like 2 gigs of RAM, something. The VM, I mean. So it's probably going to give some breathing room to my laptop. Did you die? I'm going to turn off some other I'm going to turn off some others VM that I think are running. I think Tiny Stage is running, which is like 2 VMs running. Yeah, there's at least one running. My computer will be like, oh, I don't know what to do with all this RAM. No, but seriously, I mean, you can crash during a git commit, you know. Yeah. All right, it's moving forward. It's probably swapping like crazy. Okay. Let me create a new the new pull request now. It's alt click, sorry, not control click as in my terminal. Okay, don't show disabled locked users. Okay, cool. There it is. What change did I do? There is my news fragment. Okay, that's the one about. That's the change about the search. That's the change about. Yeah, that's the change here about not returning the user when you look at the page itself. That's the 2 cassettes. That's tests for search, and that's the tests for the user page. I think we're good. Let's create it. And now it's going to run the CI. So, okay, so what did we do? So what did we learn today? We learned how Noggin works, how it connects to IPA via LDAP queries, doesn't have a database, gets representations, well, get dictionaries from LDAP and turns them into objects that we can manipulate. We learned that we can make pretty precise queries to LDAP using the library that we're using here, Python free APA. It fails already. So the dev branch is, yeah, it's out of the, why did it fail, Precious? Why did it fail? What's going on? Tox GitHub actions at master. Okay, yeah, that's a different problem. That's a problem with CI that I'm going to fix as well. Okay, so first let's get back to the dev branch. Okay. Do I have a local measure changes? Oh yeah. Let me get back to the head of the dev branch. Okay. Right. I'm going to commit this change about Vagrant, just updating the Noggin box. All right. You see, on each commit, it's running pre-commits, and pre-commit will create environments where you can run linters. It's running them again because when I updated to the head of the branch, of the dev branch, it has picked up some updates of those tools. So it needs to create newer environments. Okay, all good. I'm going back to my branch, rebase it on dev. Done. And now I'm going to try and fix CI. So something's wrong about the, how's it called? Tox master something. I think that was another pull request. Fedora Python tox GitHub action at master. Okay, I think they renamed their branch. That kind of reminds me something. I think it reminds me of something because I changed it, like I updated it in FastJSON recently. Let's check that. So, workflows, tests. It's currently running this, Fedora Python tox. Tox GitHub action. Yeah, it's running this one. I think that FastJSON has the same. Yeah, I don't want that. I want it side by side. Thank you very much. Okay, so do we have a tox GitHub action here? We do. And it's also on master, so it's probably going to fail as well. Do we have the same thing in FMN? FMN is a bit more recent. We don't, because we are running tox ourselves. Is that right? Which is fine. I mean, we can do that. At the moment, the unit tests. Yeah, I mean, we can do that. It's fine. We can do that. Use a container, Fedora Python. Good. And now, yeah, we're probably going to have to do that as well. Mark the directory as safe for Git. So I know that there's change in Git that caused us a bit of problems, because when the user of the Git directory is not the same as the user that you're actually running in, it's unhappy, I should say. Okay, now run tests. Okay, we don't need that anymore. What we need is docs. Just run docs with the matrix env that we have selected. So this is how this is a way to have GitHub show you different runs, one for each environment in docs. Okay, seems good. Is this working? I don't know, but I'm going to find out pretty soon. The diffs looks sane. And I'm going to append it to my change. Oh yeah, it's going to be unhappy because I rebased. So it's going to say, oh, you know, the reference are not right. But I know better. Okay, let's look at Git now. It should be rerunning the test now. GitHub is running the tests again. And hopefully it's not going to fail like last time. I'm not going to wait for old CI to run. I just wanted to check that it's not crashing from the get-go. But it looks correct. We just have to wait for CI to pass and for somebody to review this. And that's one less bug that we can that we'll have on Noggin, which is cool. So I'm happy we did all that, and we actually fixed the bug in the process, which is pretty useful. It's thanks for going through the poll thing and selecting the bug that I fixed today. And hopefully I'll do something similar next time. Yep, that's about it. There are still plenty of easy fixes that I could look at. I don't think I'm ever going to run out of those. But if you're working on a Fedora application and you see a bug that seems easy, feel free to label it as easy fix or good first issue, depending on what your label is in your application. And hopefully someone from the community is going to be interested in this application and try to fix it. And if not, at some point it might end up on my plate. But the reason for the easy fix label or the good first issue label is not for me to look at those bugs. It's usually for people who are new to the application. But if I can help with getting the hang of how the application is laid out, how the tests are running, how the development environment is built, then I'm happy. Thanks for joining and thanks for listening, and hopefully you got something out of that. And see you next time. Oh yeah, next time. That's a good thing. Next time, I'm not going to be here for 2 Fridays. There's 2 Fridays I'm going to be off. Next Friday I'm with family and in holidays, and the Friday after that I'm on holiday. On the west coast of France, close to Bordeaux, where I will be doing some windsurfing because it's summer. So have fun. I know I surely will, and I'll see you again so it's not the 6th. 11th? Is that the 11th? Definitely the 11th of August. See you again on the 11th of August, and thanks again for joining. Hopefully the stream was not too bad from this remote location that I'm streaming from. See you next time.